Too much from the
Good,
bar.
good afternoon. This is Tom, veteran of 4A's, and we're here in 4A's headquarters in New York at the first quarter new business committee meeting. We're fortunate today to have Melissa Lea of R3 Worldwide with us. Melissa is going to share her observations now that she's gone to the dark side and is a search consultant.
Seems like the bright side.
Melissa is a long-standing member of the 4A's New Business Committee and had been a member of the committee while at Arnold, while at Mullen, and while president and CEO of Blitz Meeting. For folks on the phone, you can hear us, we cannot hear you, you are muted. If you have questions throughout the session, please use the drop-down box that you'll note on the side where you can submit your questions and comments. Following Melissa's presentation, and I cheated and I've seen her slides, it's going to be great. We will have a Q&A. So without further ado, take it away, Melissa.
Thank you so much, Tom. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, the 4A's, and thank you to New Business Committee. I have been in your seat. I know what you go through. And to be honest, on the other side, and it is not the dark side, we are on the same side. I take offense to that, especially what's going on in the world. We are all on the same side here because all we're trying to do is add value, be creative, and prosper and grow and make a positive difference in the world. That's what it's about. So as Tom said, really, he asked me to share some insights, some observations, some things that could help you as new business professionals. Again, I was doing it for 20 years, so I feel for you. So again, it's, new business, what it's about winning. It's about looking for the one. From a client perspective, I think, looking for the one. From an agency perspective, looking for the clients. The audio is horrid. There's a lot of background noise.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what's getting better.
I thought that was a trend. I know, I was like, what?
Okay.
Right, and it's not.
Yeah,
There. Okay. So before I can share with you observations, I thought it would be important for you to understand who R3 is, because I would say 2 years ago, R3, who's R3? So just so you feel that, oh, they know what they're talking about. And then talk about what's going on in the marketplace. It isn't just, here are the 5 steps you need to follow and you'll win all this business. There are a lot of changes that are going on in the marketplace, within organizations, and within our industry. And talking about the difference in the relationships, what clients are looking for, and then just some best practices for pitches and some observations. So we'll promise 2 seconds on us. Who are we? We have been around for 15 years. We started in Asia. We have over 100 people in 11 offices, and we cover over 70 markets. That is very different from the typical consultancy that you are used to working with. When people ask us, well, you're just a review consultant. Not really. If you want to think about us in an easy way to think about us, if the CEO has Bain and McKinsey, and the CFO has PwC and Deloitte, the CMO has R3. And why do we say that? It's because we do more than reviews. If you think about us, and what does the R3 stand for? It's about return on agency. It's really not just about search, but it's about compensation best practices, client agency performance evaluations, client agency remuneration evaluations, compensation. And we cover the gamut of creative, media, digital, PR, social, across the board. The second R, it's about return on media. Yes, we compete with the likes of Ubiquity, with Accenture. We do media reviews. We do media audits. We do marketing audits. We also focus on the third R's, return on investment. Really understanding your marketing organization both internally and externally. So we do best practices review. I was in town, Tom asked me, when did you get in? Oh God, the snow. By the way, for the folks on the phone, it's snowing in New York, and he was like, is Melissa gonna show up? Was in town yesterday, meeting with clients. We're doing a global best practices review. So we do a lot more than search. So we can have a macro vantage point and understanding from afar. Who are some of our clients? The other difference is our relationships aren't just on a project basis. They're long-standing relationships. Our first client was Johnson & Johnson, again, starting in Asia and expanding throughout the world. And what has been interesting for me as a former agency person and as a former account person who transitioned into new business, I think one of the things that I loved so much about new business was that I got to learn something new every day. I wasn't just working on one account, whereas when I was an account person, I loved my clients. I was their advocate. I wanted them to grow. But with new business, it's new every day. And so that is also what's interesting about the R3 client list, is that we are not just in one industry. We go from beer to cars to packaged goods to financial services. We also think it's very important that we stay up to date and that we are involved. We are marketers ourselves. And so we take a lot of time and effort and invest our own money in doing research and develop thought leadership pieces. And I have some with me today that I will share with you. So it is from whether it's a study on integration, a study on the best relationships worldwide, or in the ad tech realm. We aren't just viewing it from afar. We're involved because that's what our clients demand. So that's enough about us. And please, any questions, please interrupt me. I'm not here to just lecture. So what's going on in the world? Your clients, the CMOs, forget about the fact of the conversation from years ago. CMOs, their tenure is, 6 months. Then it was 12 months. Now it's 18 months. I think it's up to 22 years, 24 months. Yeah. Forget about tenure. Focus on what is weighing on them day in and day out. And of the 5 C-level executives that the CEO rely on, the CMO is being held the most accountable for business growth, because historically it was viewed, the marketing budget was viewed as expendable. It's a bank. Oh, we need to make our numbers. Let's cut the marketing budget. So they're struggling, and there's a lot of pressure. And the CMOs aren't feeling very good about the job they're doing. 60% of their time is still focused on traditional advertising, traditional marketing. So they themselves are not feeling that they're spending enough time on innovation. And that is where the agencies can help. They can help their clients to really focus on innovation, what's up and coming. We were at a client yesterday, and there's a whole division focused on innovation, because that is the future. And as the CMOs recognize, if they are not focused on business disruption, their job is on the line. And this Raja is one of our clients. We work very closely with him, and he is the first one to say, it is critical that marketing people are business people first. It's also getting very interesting in the marketplace because lots of lines are being blurred. Whether it's agencies are not willing to call themselves agencies. Edelman, I know we have a colleague from Edelman right here. PR agencies are going into the media space. Agencies are building newsrooms. They're becoming content developers themselves. What do we call ourselves now? Well, you know, and the term agency is an old legal term. It's, I am a client's agent. I'm going into the marketplace on their behalf. Well, agencies are now developing content and also building businesses in their own right, separate from their clients. And also there's the pressure of the consultancies with Deloitte buying Heat, with IBM buying Resource Amirati. It seems like the world is changing and changing fast. There's also the pressure from the agency side and the talent drain, in that the agencies are being drained by the ad techs. And then the clients are evolving. They're monetizing their own assets. They're becoming content creators in their own right, and they're selling it to the public. A lot of our clients, Unilever, is doing crowdsourcing to develop creative. Mondelez is embedding Twitter staff. Another one of our clients, they have a whole social content. It sits in the middle of their office space. So the times are changing. And as such, the agency relationships are evolving. There's always been, and that is the truth. We have evolved from this, and I don't know if anyone knows this movie where it sounds like, oh, 50 First Dates, it's just first dates. But the premise of this movie is, you know what? I'm going on 50 First Dates because I want to get married. I want to be in a long-term relationship. And that's what we all want. Nobody wants to be alone. Nobody wants to bop around all the time. But we are evolving from this to a lot of project-based work. No strings attached. I'm going to go see whoever I want to see. I'm going to get work whoever I want. You know, we all read the trades. The days of the AOR are numbered. However, the other truth is, no matter what kind of relationship it is, whether it is a project basis, whether it is a long-term relationship, maybe you're not married, maybe, but everyone wants to know that you're in it for the long term, that you're in it together, that you are the one who's going to help me succeed, to add value, to grow my business. Everyone's looking for love, no matter how you define it. What has also been interesting over the past 2 years, the number one reason back in 2014 that clients said that they changed agencies was that their needs outgrew what the agencies could offer. And again, you can think about the pressure on the CMO, not feeling innovative. Oh, I got to change something. Let's change agency. Let's get something new in. On the agency side, they're not feeling that, oh, our needs are still good. They thought it's the client's fault, that they're like changing, and so it's not us, it's you. Jump ahead 2 years later, and this was shocking. The number one reason why clients cited for changing relationships was price. But within the price, there's also value. So we knew, last year and the year before, it was all about media agency reviews, getting the numbers down, all these media audits. The media audits aren't, from a client perspective, they could say it's just about money. It's about innovation. It's about getting the most value. It's time every once in a while. It's good to review your relationship. That doesn't mean you're going to get divorced. But again, 2 years later, the agencies are saying the same thing. There's something going on with the client. They're screwed up. It's not us. But the price really showed up. Whereas 2 years ago, price wasn't even on this list. So it's getting harder out there. What is also very interesting is the number of creative reviews has increased, but the revenue is lower. So that gets back to, they're more project-oriented, they're smaller. It isn't the huge, big AOR situations. Conversely, look at media agencies. There are fewer pitches, although those of the folks here who are at media agencies may not feel that way. There are fewer pitches, but the amount of revenue is higher. Again, getting back to price, value, the concerns of the CMO. The other thing that we hear a lot, and in the reviews, a couple of things that have come up more often than not in recent times is, what is the right agency model? I can assure you this comes up in every pitch that R3 has been involved in. What is the right agency model? No matter what client we talk to, what is the right agency model? And then the answer is, it depends. It depends. It depends on what your goals are. It depends on how you are structured. It depends on how you work. But they still ask, what is the right agency model? And based on our research, we've come up with 6 degrees of integration, whether it's best-in-class, multiple best-in-class agencies, a lead agency, a holding company situation where they work with multiple siblings, or if it's a custom-built agency, then there's the free agency where it's, I'm going to use whoever I want, and then the legacy of one-stop shop, which in this country we see less and less, but it's much more common in Japan or Korea or Brazil.
With cobwebs?
Yes. And then to give you an idea of some of the clients that live within these models, you know, multiple best in class. There's Samsung, MasterCard, Visa, Johnson & Johnson, Adidas. With a lead agency, P&G, Dove. The holding company model, you know, IBM has been with Ogilvy forever. And it has succeeded. And it works for them. But they are active participants in their relationship. The holding company custom agency, we see it with Ford, we see it with Colgate, with Redfuse, Target, Dell. You know, it can work, and sometimes it doesn't work. The free agency, Sony, Diageo, Coca-Cola, a lot of the beer companies, they do that. And then the one-stop shop, Toyota. But in addition to what is the right agency model, you also have to keep in the back of your mind that clients are not just viewing agencies as their marketing partners. They are also viewing the ad tech firms as an important part of the marketing function and the marketing solution. So for example, MasterCard, you have Facebook, it has a seat at the table. You have Sysomos, Control Shift. They're all part of one team. It isn't, in a sense, of us against them, or as we used to say in the agency, it's not about the vendors. You know, clients view agents, they're vendors too. If you talk to procurement, agencies are vendors. You all sign the same, and Jen knows this, same vendor agreement. You know, we sign the same vendor agreement that you're signing. But you're all part of the same team. So it's that mind shift. So I encourage you to view your partners in this marketplace as such. So any questions? I know I've thrown a lot at you.
I have a question about the...
That's Simone
sorry.
speaking from Ogilvy.
I have a question about the slide where you did the marketing creative investment for media. Cumulatively, I understand from a project basis they're smaller. Yeah, one slide before this, I believe. But cumulatively, I'm assuming it's, from what I've read, it's more based upon the media investment growing, especially with this like digital.
This slide, it breaks down the
per project.
And this is just the creative side of it,
right?
You know, because we have one of the largest databases of fee benchmarks, and we also track. R3 tracks all of the wins, and we share that with the 4As, and we were. You know, I know in the olden days, I go back in the olden days when, was it Ad Age or Ad Week who always printed the wins?
I think it was Ad Week, but it's
Ad Week.
It's a long time ago.
I said the old days. You know, some of us remember that. They don't do that anymore. R3 does it. So this is just based on the size of the creative fee.
Per opportunity.
Per opportunity, yes, yes. So, pitching. How many of you feel like this? I know I felt that way. And I know at R3, and the few of you who have been involved in a pitch with us, we try and limit that. And I hope you're not talking behind our back saying, oh no, she's full of it. You know, We try and be humane. And we hear you. We understand, the typical frustrations. The briefs aren't clear. There's no time to do this. You're not giving us feedback. I was surprised when I joined R3 that in our reviews, we give feedback to the agencies that do not proceed. And I was saying to my colleagues, really? Nobody ever did that for me. I'm like, why do I have to do this? I have other work to do. Really? Because it'll help you with the next one. Because sometimes it's just so hard to get out of your own mess and get out of your own way, and just have an independent third party to help you and say, this is what we observed. This is also what the client observed. This is our suggestion. So there's also frustration, lack of face time. Please understand that the clients are under so much pressure. We know that you want to spend time with them. They don't have the time. And we know the argument is, but they'll get better work if we get to spend more time with them. Honestly, we don't think you should have to do work. There's no way you can understand their business really in 3-4 weeks. It doesn't make sense. The only time you're really going to understand their business is when you start working together. So we try and get, at least at R3, we get discrete projects. So those are some of the frustrations. So we hear you, we understand. But then on the positive side, what are the benefits for participating in a pitch? It's doing some great work. It's building your business. It's growing your business. It's giving back, helping a business grow to give back to the global ecosystem. Not to get too philosophical here, but advertising helps. Advertising works. There is a societal benefit from advertising. And I truly, truly believe this. And I spent a long time in my youth not realizing that. I come from a science and math background, and it's like, oh, advertising, marketing, that's easy, that's simple. And then one day I was just reading a magazine in the old days of print, and I read an ad. I'm like, oh. And it dawned on me, there is a benefit to society. You can say, oh, she's full of it. Take a step back. Think about, it's not just the ad council. Every individual has some needs, personal needs, and we're helping get the word out. So I'll get off my soapbox now. So there are benefits to an agency. It's also the more you win, the more people know your name, the more it's like, oh, what are they doing? And it helps with innovation. It funds innovation. It fuels growth across the board. But when you're involved in a pitch, there is a common theme. And I have a prize for somebody who can understand what is the common theme coming out of these.
Story.
So one says story. I'll take 3 responses.
Overcoming something.
Overcoming something. One more.
Yeah, the theme.
Yeah, there is a common theme, but what is that theme?
No, I mean each one of them has a theme. Like it's all about one particular thing in each of them.
Good versus evil.
Pardon?
Good versus evil.
I can't.
Good versus evil.
Good versus evil. Okay.
Challenge your
Okay, everybody wins. Yeah, it's about a hero's journey. So for the people for the people in the room, I have gifts. So what I'm handing out, and we are happy to give anyone any more of our here. One for the Orioles. And everyone else gets one of our family trees. No. So if you want to pass these around the room. So yes, what it is, it's really about a hero's journey. Participating in a pitch is hard work, and you really have to be in it or not do it. So if you break it down into 3 acts, when you get that call from somebody like me, so we have a client, and they're thinking about it, a few people in this room have gotten that call from me or somebody else at R3. This is what it's about. What you need to do internally is align your expectations. Is this a client that you want to be in partnership with? And then once you make that RSVP, you need to rally the troops. It can't be lackluster. I know it's hard. It is so hard. And then prepare the RFI. And again, we truly believe an RFI is just information. You should not have to recreate the world. Act 2, you do need one person to lead. Sometimes agencies have one person. The new business lead is the liaison with the consultant. Sometimes it's the person who's going to run the account. You just need to figure out what the right model is for you. And then, of course, there's the chemistry sessions, you know, impressed and be impressed. And after the meeting, it's like, oh, I don't know. Is this right? What should we do? And then you get the brief, and it's, oh my goodness, this is not what we thought it should be. Should we change it? Change it all, throw it all away. So it's tough. And then finally, it's, you get the RFP, you are at the final presentation, you're trying to impress, but please know it's not about impressing. It's seeing whether you want to be in business with this person, with this company, with this organization. Do they have the same values? Are you in it for the right reasons and potentially the same reasons? And then when it's all over, it's time to get some sleep. But that's not it. It's only the beginning. What you will see in one of the books I handed out, one of our research white papers, the Global 40, went into detail of what makes successful relationships. And the 6 secrets of what we discovered for a great global marriage, and all of the relationships in the book are global relationships, is, you know what? They look at new models. Well, during the relationship, is this working? Not, oh, I'm scared to ask. Feel confident in the relationship enough, or you should be confident in the relationship enough to ask those questions. And then they also, being together, FaceTime matters. Yes, technology is a wonderful thing, and we can have all of the Skype sessions and webinars as possible, but being in a room with somebody and being able to look at them and say, really? Dude, really? You know, nobody else is here but us. Let's talk. Is that really going to help us? Also, focus on the goal. We all get jumbled up with everything, you know, this person wants this, so we have this. Try and keep it simple and focus on the goal. The other area is, and it sounds very strange, and I know it sounds strange for me to be saying this to agencies, because having been on the agency side, what do you mean take digital seriously? Of course we take digital seriously. We've been taking digital seriously forever. Not on the client side. They're still trying to figure it out. So the CMO, you know, earlier in the presentation, the CMO is relying on their agency to take digital seriously and take innovation seriously and be proactive. Immerse yourself in both ways. Don't just think, oh, they don't care about the agency. Clients are very proud of their relationships, are very proud of their agencies. Share your successes with them. Don't think, oh, they don't want to know about another client. Share your successes with them, but also be interested in theirs. Be interested in not only successes, but struggles. It's not all, you know, yes, not everything is, you know, cheery all the time, sanguine, but it goes both ways. And then I know we have this culture of hating reviews, meaning personal reviews, or, you know, when, oh, it's my annual review, I hate it. Jeff Immelt was quoted, Jeff Immelt, the CEO of GE, was quoted, and GE has a long history of difficult personal reviews. Jeff was quoted as saying, you know, I look forward to my annual review because it helped me get better. Because I never want to stay the same. I always want to grow. So I took the good with the bad. And that's okay. And that's, so benchmark your relationship, evaluate it, do it together. Tom, at the beginning, right before we started, asked how much of R3's business is client agency performance evaluation. I can tell you only 20% of our business are reviews. 80% of our business are benchmarking, client agency performance evaluation, marketing audits, media audits, best practice. You know, that's why I'm in town yesterday. I was at a client. We're doing a global best practices study. Don't be afraid to evaluate, but also ask that it goes both ways. You know, the agency can evaluate its client too, and we've seen that, and we've helped clients and agencies develop those evaluations. Any questions about that section? Make sure I'm good on time.
Melissa, where you're talking about the 6 secrets and benchmarking, how or to what degree do you share benchmarks that you and the client are working with during the course of the review with the agency?
During the course when there's an agency review, or if it's involved in a benchmarking study?
No, if you're going through a review for a new agency,
yes.
If the client has certain benchmarks that they have become ingrained in their culture and evaluation, to what degree do you share that with the agency participants?
And I'm sorry, I'm going to ask another question. Benchmarks with respect to evaluation benchmarks, or cost benchmarks, or fee benchmarks?
I was thinking about cost and fee benchmarks.
Okay. Typically, we don't share our database with our clients. We have a database, and then when we do a benchmark study, we say, okay, these costs are, you know, above benchmark, below benchmark by X%. That is what our clients see. When those studies are complete, that is when, and if the client hires R3 to be involved in the discussions with their agency, we can do that. At that point, either the client or R3 will share with the agency, this is what we found. And one of my colleagues was supposed to be here with me today. She's actually down at a client. We had to split because we are sharing our findings, the client in the room and the agency in the room, that the fees that you have presented are either above, they're fine, or below. And that's done after the study, and it's not, and in our experience, it isn't, oh my God, they're above benchmark, let's get rid of them. No, there's so much invested in a relationship. There's so much institutional knowledge. We are happy that our business, a higher percentage of our business is about performance evaluations as opposed to search, because getting divorced is not only expensive, but it's disruptive. And you lose a lot of institutional knowledge. That, on the last point, the institutional knowledge, there have been situations where clients change agencies, and then the new agency just hires all the old people. You know, I can't really comment because then what's the point other than changing a governance structure? And our business, it isn't just, governance is important, but our business, it is about growth and creativity and evolving. Did I answer your question, Tom?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, some observations. And you may think, oh, these are, you know, we've heard this all before, but please, I am telling you, we see this. We get all the RFIs, we get all the presentations, we see it all. And please avoid cliches. Please, it's like, well, we're the best, we are the, and it happens all the time, that's all I'll say. It's hard, but the way to avoid that is keep it simple and be honest about yourself. And that takes a lot of work. You know, it's the cobbler's children have no shoes. A lot of times agencies, it is very hard to look within and come up with your point of differentiation in a simple, clear, compelling, relatable way. You just want to feel. You want to relate. Please, please, please avoid buzzwords. And buzzwords become buzzwords, over time. And, today's word is a new word. And I think what we agencies are great at is inventing new 3-letter acronyms. A few years ago it was DMPs, DSPs. I don't know. I don't know I do know them all, but I don't want to rattle them all up. Keep it simple. Keep it plain speaking. Yes, you're very smart. Yes, you know things. I was on a call yesterday with someone, and they were explaining programmatic to me, and I put the phone on mute. I'm like, really? I know, I get it. I know what programmatic is. Just try and avoid buzzwords. And this is sometimes hard, and you're very proud of your agency, and you're proud of what you've accomplished, but you didn't do it on your own. There is somebody else in the room. It's just like, a mom and dad, and somebody said, oh, this is my child. Really, it's our child. It takes two. It takes a client and an agency to be successful. Awards are great. Awards really show that you're being recognized, that you're doing great work. But a lot of metal isn't really going to help a client when you're in the midst of review and the client is just saying, I need to make a change. I want to see some new ideas. I need to be innovative. Help me. Move on. It's nice. You're awarded. You wouldn't be in that round if you didn't deserve to be. Consultants do, one of the things that R3 does is we vet the agencies. We try and meet with as many agencies as possible. We are happy to meet with you. I know Simone and I have been emailing, I don't know, it's been 8 months or something. It's like, yeah, okay. We will try. I was in the city a few weeks ago, and I followed up with another agency. I said, I promised I'd get back to you. Can you meet this week? Oh my God, yes. Awards are great, but you don't need to belabor it. This is also something really important. Listening to the client and following the rules. We've been involved in reviews where the CEO would get so excited and the time was up. It's like, oh, I know, but we just want to add something more. It's not going to bode well, and yes, clients do score. Not only do they score numerically, but there are also places for qualitative comments, and that can hurt you. So don't go over, because after a certain amount of time, and I'm making sure I'm not going over, it just, more is less. And it pisses people off. And more isn't always better. It just, oh, here's this amazing research study I did. No, I'm hiring you, or I'm asking you to drill it down for me. Give me a sound bite. Sometimes editing is really hard. It's so much easier to go on and on and on, but drill it down. And this is really important. Do not bring people to a meeting who will never touch the business. I have a very dear friend on the agency side, and I know for a fact that the strategy was, we will bring all the senior people to every pitch, and we will swap out one person. And that one person will be on the business, but everyone else in the room won't be. And the reason we do it, they're the best presenters. It's not going to fly. It's not going to cut it. And so it behooves agencies to train your staff, to help rising stars be good presenters. We are in the communication business. Nurture them to be communicators. Not everyone is born a great public speaker. Not everyone is born a great presenter. If there's value, if you see a kernel of truth in them, nurture them, invest in them. So, the top 3 things I would love for everyone to take away is people do matter. Not only the people on your team, but the people you're presenting to and clients. Efficiency. It matters. Keep it simple. Stick to the time frame. Don't belabor things. And be effective. Answer the brief. Don't go off on a tangent. Show results. And we'd love to help you. We don't view you as, you're not the enemy. We're in this together. We are only as successful as you are with our clients. So we are happy to help you and advise you in any way we can. We put a lot of our research studies on our website. So please go, look, enjoy, print out, do whatever you want to do with it. And thank you.
Great. So, Melissa, on slide 20, well, 19 and 20, you talk about motivations to change agencies and some of the perspectives from 2014 and then just 2 years later, where price value had jumped up the scale fairly significantly.
Yes, it wasn't even on the year before.
Global or US? Sorry, just to...
This is global. It was a 2016 SOTA report, Society of Digital Agencies.
Yeah, that's what I was going to question, because I thought it was digital. So this is really from a digital point of view rather than a holistic or media?
Well, this is the data that we have. Here's the thing, and I just wanted to, I'll explain this with an example. We were running the New Balance Global Creative Review. A digital agency won it. It is one of the first times that a digital agency has won a global creative review, and we believe that you are going to see more and more of that. So because this is the way the world is going, that is why we use this data.
Can you talk about, is there an example of a presentation where you thought an agency did a particularly good job of talking about the value proposition, because it's cost value, and obviously a lot of agencies are going to want to figure out better ways to communicate the value side of that teeter-totter. I should have asked her this question 2 days ago.
Well, I can't. Typically, when you get into cost value, you're in, and it's typically not part of a final presentation, because most of the time final presentations are responses to specific briefs, and you're not getting into the cost structure. Those conversations happen when there's one-on-one negotiation. So maybe I'm not understanding your question, Tom.
Well, I'm trying to see if there are tips to the committee members about things that they should try to articulate throughout the review process that emphasize the value side of the equation and not just the cost side of the equation.
I think it happens, it is not just one thing that they do, it happens throughout the entire process and through the relationship. If they see that the people there is, that there really is good chemistry. We have more clients than not who say, I'd be willing to pay for people who I think get my business, who I want to work with. So it isn't, again, that what I want to emphasize, yeah, pricing is important, and there will be an evaluation against benchmarks, but the other word there is value. Clients are willing to pay for something they perceive will be more valuable. So it is presented throughout the entire process, not just in one particular instance of a presentation. we ask for, one question sometimes we ask about, talk about your culture within your agency, what you do for your people, and I know this could feel like a squishy question. And it really shows the difference of how agencies answer that question. They give a laundry list of, oh, we do beer on Friday, we do this, we do that, and then you see the agencies that say, we really think our people are important and we go about it in a more in-depth way. It's not just a laundry list of, oh, they get great benefits. So Tom, it's a culmination, it's an additive. It's not just about pure price. I would really emphasize that the word value there.
This is why clients switch, not why you win. Right? This is why someone's raising
This is why
saying I want a review versus
Yes.
why you win.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Can I see the slide before this?
Sure.
Yeah. So what are clients saying that agencies have done to make such a dramatic shift in just 2 years? So the needs kind of outgrew agencies' ability to deliver. I would imagine a lot of that is in digital and technology.
Yes.
So how have clients' perception of what agencies? I think feel like everyone's been scrambling to figure it out, except the kind of pure play digital places, and even them are, they're working on that as well. So what from a client perspective, what positive changes have they seen to then drop that to it not even really being on the list 2 years later?
I think part of it is that, and so when this survey was done to be presented in 2014, it was done in 2013. So it was, the word analytics, the word programmatic, remember what was going on in 2012, 2013. DSPs, DMPs, they were all being established then. So when they did the survey amongst clients, companies, it's like, oh, I don't think my agency is up to snuff.
Right.
And then 2 years later, oh, well, they're up to snuff, but I'm just paying too much. And there are all these, quote, hidden charges. Because the agencies had to invest, there are all these hidden charges, and that led to, and I know within these, the transparency report and everything else. So what's going on in the world has shown up in these surveys.
Well, Melissa, one of the questions we got from a participant on the webinar side remotely, the question was about what are some of the financial things that R3 benchmarks?
Oh, we benchmark fees, we benchmark creative production, we benchmark media costs. We benchmark anything and everything on a global basis.
Okay.
Yeah, seeing that pricing and value is obviously such an important piece of the puzzle, are there any trends that you guys have seen that have been successful in terms of incentive-based compensation structures? Or can you talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely, and there's a lot of talk about performance-based compensation. We are huge proponents of incentive-based compensation, but it's not just on the plus side. There has to be risk-reward. So we don't like to say it's a trend, but this is the way it should work, is that we think that there should be unlimited, within reason, upside potential, but there also has to be a risk. For example, we worked, and you can read about this on our website and also just Google it. We've worked with Unilever over the past 2.5 years, working with them on wholesale changing their entire remuneration structure. And they have built in, there's basically, at this point, their new way of pricing is there's no negotiation. This is the project. Is it a simple? I'm going to break this down into simplistic terms. Let's say there's a print ad. I know, I'm going back to print. A simple print ad. a medium print ad or a very complicated print ad, which makes no sense at all. There are different prices for each of those 3 types, and no negotiation. This is how much you're going to get paid, and this is how much it's going to cost. Then on the incentive side, if the business has been successful, you potentially could earn up to, X% of fee. However, if your work was not successful, you could owe us money. So the trend is for both risk and reward. And we do ask, again, when our clients request it, based on our counsel, for a incentive-based compensation plan. The agencies that only put the upside will not be looked favorably.
And is it always business metric, KPIs, or do you build in some subjective, service levels,
Yep, it's based on
thought
the
leadership?
Yeah, it's based on I don't have it memorized, but it's based on the evaluation of the agency, whether how the relationship is going. There's based on the type of relationship, whether it's media or creative, there are different metrics, but it's 70, 20, 10 based on all different, whether the hard business numbers, how your business is doing, how the advertising is performing, and then the overall evaluation. So there they are. I remembered it.
There you go. So Melissa,
Yes, Tom.
if 3 months down the road you came back into the agency world as an agency CMO, what's the one thing based on your experience at R3 that you would try to keep top of mind in terms of helping your performance in new business or relationship with clients?
Why do you ask me the hard questions?
That's a really good question. Great question.
There isn't one thing. It's all of it, and that's why your job is hard. It's not just one thing because, as an account person, you have your finance team, who's going to help you. And as a new business person, you have your finance team to help you, but you're on the front line, as a CMO. Well, if the CMO has responsibility for new business, assuming. You're the front line, you're there. So it's really, you have a tough job. And it is, I guess what I would keep top of mind is staying abreast of all of the changes, and like the question Christy asked, what are the latest, what's going on in incentive compensation? It's just staying abreast of what is going on in the industry, of the new ways of working. And before, it's sometimes you can get so mired in the business as usual, the day-to-day projects, that you don't focus on educating yourself. You don't focus on coming to meetings like this.
I feel bad for sticking you with a couple of tough questions, so now I'm going to give you a softball down the middle.
Well, how'd I answer? How'd I do?
No,
Review me.
just I'll add a comment on the performance incentive compensation. We've done a great deal of survey work, the ANA has as well. Generally, about 50% of performance incentive comp arrangements require, quote, skin in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And about half do not. The potential payout rewards are considerably less when there's no skin in the game. I frequently will get questions from members about what is the mechanism for keeping a consulting organization up to date on agency news. And what I've learned is each consulting practice has their own protocol and preference. So maybe you could talk about R3's preference for how agencies can best keep you and the R3 team updated.
Sure. Simple answer is treat us like the media. We want to know about your successes. Send us emails. Shoot us information. We're always happy to hear from you. On our website, under services, there's a click for clients, for agencies. There's a way you can upload your credentials. Our marketing director, who she used to live in Asia, now she's living in the US. Yay, my team's growing. We do look at it. And anything you send us, we will look at. You know, update us on a monthly basis. However often you want, just share. That's the easiest way. Don't feel like you're bothering us. You know, if you'd like to set up a time to meet, it's based on our travel, our schedules, but we will follow up.
Another question, there's been so much discussion about transparency in the trade press. What are your clients talking to you about in terms of where transparency fits in terms of either triggering reviews or their assessment of candidates?
They are asking us, what should we do about this? And the first thing we say is, have you read your contract lately? It's as simple as that. Do you have audit rights in your contract? That's it. If you don't, I think it's time to relook at that. It's not saying I want to get a divorce. I just want to evolve our relationship within the realities of the world. We are working with a client right now on best practices, and we are reviewing all of I'm about to say, we're not attorneys, we don't pretend to be one, but I am an attorney.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
I'm a licensed attorney. I just re-upped, spent the $350 at the state of New York. We're reviewing contracts going back 20 years up until the current time, and one amendment evolved, and read your contract. Don't be shy about it. If you've maintained the other aspects of the relationship, the world has changed. There's so many things that a contract from 1986 does not have that it should have in 2017. So.
Any other questions for Melissa? Melissa, this was great. Thank you so much for sharing your time and wisdom with us. Folks on the phone via webinar, thank you for listening in. Have a good day. We have recorded this session. We will be posting it in the Information Center of Agency Search in the next couple of days, and Melissa was kind enough to allow us to post her slides as well. So thank you, everybody.
What I also shared that Tom has a stack of our agency, the family trees, or they were passed around. Lubeck
Dun, dun, dun.
Dave took them all. So